Welcome back to the 5 p.m. podcast, everyone. I'm Tina.
And I'm Dan. And Tina, things have been heating up in the world of immigration policy, haven't they?
Heating up is an understatement, Dan. We're seeing a surge of pro-immigration demonstrations, especially in states like Texas and California. It's been pretty intense.
It's wild. Since Trump's second term started, we've seen over 600 documented protests across the country. That is within roughly the last month. 600!
It is a lot. And these aren't small gatherings either. We're talking about a 20,000-person march in Houston, massive student walkouts in Los Angeles. It's significant.
The Houston one. Organized by Phi-EL, right? I read their executive director, Cesar Espinosa, was quoted saying something about standing up for the community.
Yeah, that's right. And it's not just organizations like Phi-EL. We've got students, community leaders, even religious figures involved. Bishop James Dixon from the NAACP was at one of the rallies, wasn't he?
He was. And Sonny Garcia from the Muslim Civic Coalition. They're all coming together, which I find so... Well, it shows the broad impact of these policies.
So what's driving all this, Dan? What are the main catalysts for these protests?
Well, a big part of it is the stricter immigration policies that have been put in place. Expanded ICE operations, more raids, mass deportations. It's creating a lot of fear.
Fear is definitely a major factor. I read that there were even false rumors of raids, and that caused school attendance to drop dramatically in some areas.
Yeah, in Boyle Heights, the attendance dropped by over 30%. Just on asterisk rumors. That shows you the level of anxiety in these communities.
It's heartbreaking. And then you have the asterisk actual times raids. Chicago, 320 arrests. It's a lot for people to deal with.
And the thing is, it's not time just asterisk ICE anymore. They've expanded Title VIII authority, so now you have DEA and ATF agents involved in immigration enforcement.
Okay, hold on. Can we break that down? Title VIII. What does that actually mean?
So basically, Title VIII is the part of U.S. law that deals with immigration. It gives the government, and specifically ICE, the power to arrest and detain people who aren't citizens.
And now that authority is being extended to other agencies. That seems like a pretty big deal.
It is. And there are concerns that you are using folks that, might not be fully trained for this kind of work.
Right. And what about the students? They're playing a huge role in these protests, aren't they?
Huge. Student-led walkouts account for something like 38% of all the protest activity. In Los Angeles, the school district reported massive drops in attendance during the walkouts.
It's impressive to see young people so engaged. I saw some quotes from students saying they feel empowered, but also scared for their families.
Yeah, that dual feeling of empowerment and fear. It's a powerful combination. They're taking a stand, but they're also facing real risks.
And it's not just impacting the students themselves. These protests are having ripple effects throughout the community, right?
Oh yeah. Businesses are closing temporarily. There's a strain on local law enforcement. It's affecting everyone.
And I saw some reports of law enforcement struggling to manage the protests and the counter-protests simultaneously.
Yeah. The ACLED data shows that pro-immigration demonstrations are outnumbering anti-immigration ones by a huge margin. Like 30-1. But still, there's a divide.
And how are these kinds of protests being organized? Is it all just spontaneous, or is there some coordination happening?
There's definitely coordination. There's this group, the 50,501 movement. Their goal is 50 rallies, 50 states, one day. They're using encrypted communications to organize.
Wow. That's ambitious, to say the least. It shows the level of organization and determination.
It does. And it speaks to the broader societal impact. We're seeing community solidarity, but also polarization around these issues.
It's a complex situation, with no easy answers. But these protests are forcing us to have a conversation about immigration policy, and that's important.
Exactly. And it'll be interesting to see how this plays out in the long term, whether these protests lead to any policy changes, or if they spark even more activism.
Absolutely. It's a developing story, and one we'll definitely be keeping an eye on. Thanks for breaking it down for us, Dan.
My pleasure, Tina. And thanks to all of you for tuning in to the 5 p.m. podcast. We'll be back next week with more insights into the stories shaping our world.
See you then.